Good morning, good morning. Thank you for meeting me a little bit earlier today. All right, let me grab my laptop so I can keep track of everybody's readings. Do you think it's time for a new laptop holder? This is fine. It's fine. Okay, there we go. Hello, hello, good morning. Don't need that. Welcome, welcome. I'm excited. It's been a little bit since we last did this. I'm going to put right here in the chat really quickly. Hola, buen día. I'm just putting the instructions in the comments and I'll pin them there. Please use the question box to drop your reading. Okay. Pin. Amazing. Hi, everyone. Hi. It is freezing in Los Angeles, aka it's 60 degrees. It is making my nose run, but that's fine. We shall persist, as we always do. I think I'm forgetting something. Let me go grab it. I'm forgetting something. I like to have my notebook with me just in case. We're doing a little automatic writing. Ooh, I kind of want to plug in my headphones. I feel like it sounds better when I use my headphones. Let's see. Bing, bing. Ah! Just flew out of my ear. Let's see if we can do this. I believe in me. There's one, there's two. Haha, there we go. Headphones are plugged in. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for joining today for Flash Friday readings. I'm excited to get started. Let me pull up everyone's contributions so I don't miss a reading. If you'd like a reading, you can check the links in my bio to send over your payment and drop your reading in the little question box here. If you can't hang out but you'd still like a reading, you can put your question in your payment notes and just watch the replay later after I post it. So, before we begin, I'd like to start, as I always do, by calling in the spirits. So, if you're watching now, I invite you to join me by relaxing into your seat, closing your eyes, if it's comfortable, and together let's take 3 big deep breaths in through our noses and out through our mouths. Keep taking those big, deep breaths as we call in the spirits. From the East, who connects us to our mental acuity, I call upon the element of air and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the East. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the East. From the South, who connects us to our passion, creativity, sensuality, and sexuality. I call upon the element of fire and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the South. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the South. From the West, who connects us to our emotions, the dream world, the dead, and fluidity. I call upon the element of water and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the West. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the West. From the North, who connects us to our physicality, the material world, resources, and cultivation. I call upon the element of earth and the good medicine, blessings, and protection that come from the North. Welcome. We ask that you assist us in facilitating a good and strong container for truth, clarity, wisdom, and protection today. Welcome good medicine that comes from the North. From above, we draw down the golden light of Creator, down from the heavens, into our crowns, moving down through our bodies, plunging into the soil, connecting deep into the center of this good earth. We welcome this golden light as it neutralizes all that does not serve us in this moment. We thank you, Creator, for your great dreaming and for our lives. From below, we draw up the silvery center of this good earth, up through the soil, into our bodies, moving up through our crowns, stretching high into the heavens. We welcome this silver light as it neutralizes all that does not serve us in this moment. We thank you, great above and great below. From the center, we rest our hands on our hearts. We breathe deeply into our bellies. And we listen to the seventh direction within us. We thank ourselves for rising this morning, for meeting this day, its challenges, and its blessings. Benevolent spirits of the cosmos, our Father Sun, our Grandmother Moon, our good Mother Earth, ascended ancestors, wise and well, good spirits, guardians, gods and guides who surround, support, and uplift each and every one of us gathered here together today. We thank you for being with us now. We thank you for your blessings and your protections now and always. We thank you for your wisdom, guidance, and truth through both the shadows and the light. We thank you, Creator and Creatrix, for this moment. And we thank all the versions of ourselves, past, present, future, and beyond, for aligning here now. May our hearts be open, and may we be ever present to receive. Ooh. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to pull one card, maybe a couple cards for everyone, just to get us started, and then I'll start going through the list and doing your individual readings. If you're just joining us, it's not too late to receive a reading. You can find the links in my bio to send over your contribution. So, this scarf is just not doing what I needed to do today. What are we pulling from? This one. Okay. We're going to pull from the Mary Magdalene Oracle. This was a gift from my friend Sanyu for my birthday. And it's really neat. Whoop. Two from here, one from here. Understood. Big shuffle. Okay. Pretty. So cold. It's hard to shuffle. Cut the deck. Okay. 1, 2. And they said one from Offerings Oracle. Cut the deck. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Oh. All right. So the two cards that I pulled from the Mary Magdalene Oracle are the Heart I carry a cathedral within me. And the cave sanctuary exists within. I think it's really interesting that we've pulled these two cards that have kind of a similar sentiment, and showing me like the spirits are being very clear about the message they'd like to share. These two cards are followed by reflection from Offerings Oracle. And what I'm receiving is, you know, when we're going through it, whether we're going through it individually or collectively or both at the same time, it can be really challenging to show up for our altars, for our spirits, in the ways that we may be used to or the ways that we wish we could. And what the spirits are offering us today is the reminder that the most important altar is this body. The most important temple exists in here and also in here. So much of the work that I've been doing over the last couple of years has been about helping folks develop their trance mediumship skills, their visualization skills, emphasizing the importance of our imaginations in not just our worship or relationship with spirits, but also in world building. If we can't dream it, how can we bring it to life? How can we make it real? And this is a really good reminder from our spirits that the things that we feel we are unable to do for any reason at our altars with our spirits, whether it's sitting in front of the altar and praying or bringing a small feast as an offering, whatever we can't do in the physical realm, we are certainly able to do in the spirit realm, in the realm of our imagination and our mind's eye. And it's just as important and just as impactful. And it's winter right now. Our energy levels are like on reserve. Obviously, I'm not a scientist, so take what I say with a grain of salt, LOL. But I know that I've been feeling it. Like I am exhausted, and it's taken a lot of extra effort to show up at my altar. And I've also realized that like the way I show up is changing at my altar. But here nor there, we've got a limited amount of energy collectively. What are we spending that IRL energy on? What are we spending that physical world energy on? And if it can't be our altars, and we're turning to our imaginations and our prayers for that, what are we putting it towards then? You know, are we maybe in survival mode, and we've got to use all of that energy to just make sure that we're housed and clothed and fed? Do we have excess? And here's where reflection comes in, because we're taking kind of an audit of ourselves and our energy levels. Do we have excess? Is there extra? And what could we be putting that towards? Are we spending it on things that distract us and potentially, I mean, in most extreme, perhaps cause harm? Or at the least extreme, distract us, keep us from doing the things we want to do? Are we using that excess energy to pour into our craft, our vocation? Are we using that little bit of extra energy to care for our communities, for our families, for our friends? And there isn't really a right or wrong answer here, but there is a call to take a moment, take a deep breath, and look at what you do have, what resources you do have, and consider, am I spending those resources in a way that feels in right relationship with who I want to be in the world that I'm imagining, or the kind of world that I hope to see myself in? So, if you have a spare moment today or tomorrow, I invite you to just take a little time to reflect on like where that extra energy goes. I've been trying to be personally really conscious of how much time I'm spending on my phone and considering where can that energy go instead. I've taken a little break. If you know me, you know I love to play The Sims, And even though there's a new expansion pack with tarot cards, I've taken a break from that because I really need to spend that energy in different places. And sometimes those other places aren't as fun as decorating a dilapidated, spooky mansion on The Sims. But those things that I'm spending my time on that are less fun are also going to be really helpful in achieving the goals that really mean the most to me, which is, I mean, for me personally, I would like to have my own house in the real world to decorate at some point. So I had to take a little break from my, video game one so that I could do some really important, not so fun things so that I can get myself there. Anyway, that's enough for our collective reading. Let's start jumping into your personal readings. I'm going to start with everyone who sent a Venmo, and then I'll switch over to PayPal just because PayPal logs me out every 2 seconds. So it's hard to jump back and forth. Okay, let's dig in. And if you haven't already, but if you sent a contribution, but you didn't put the question in the notes, please go ahead and use the little question box down here to plug that in. If you put it in the comments, I'll miss it. I won't see it. Okay. You don't see a question box. So, you know how there's like a box where you can put your comments in? Next to it, there should be like a little button. Okay, you see it now. Okay, good. So, Pavanine thing is first. Hi, felt a powerful masked spirit in a moment of crisis with a lot of light around him. Can I learn more? Yeah, let's get into that. I like that question. This stuff. Okay. Y'all, it is so cold. I realize that it's probably only like 60 degrees and it's not snowing or even raining. I'm so cold. This feels like an elder spirit. But they've also walked the earth in human form. Like they've existed before humans, and either they've had the ability to kind of, I feel like shape-shifting has a negative connotation, but they have the ability to like change their form, or it's more like their soul has been reborn into human body before, but I can definitely sense that they're older than human beings, and yet they've walked the earth in a human body and having a human experience. Yes. Okay, I got it right. Yes. Okay. I can feel them here. And they kind of like if we're talking about sensations that come with spirits, I'm really getting this very like crisp feeling. There's some spirits that come through and they're very warm, but this spirit is cold, but not in a spooky way, like in a crisp fall morning kind of way. In a like, that first, almost kind of reminds me, this seems really kind of silly, but like fresh scented laundry is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, like very crisp and clear and like clean smelling, like freshly cleansed, perhaps even like a little bit chemically with the cleansing smell. And again, like it's not in a negative way. It's just that feeling of like, you walk into the kitchen after somebody's just cleaned it, or after I've just cleaned it, or my partner's just cleaned it, and you kind of get hit with like, oh, it's so bright and it smells so good in here. Like that's the sensation that I'm getting from this particular spirit. What's interesting is that the King of Pentacles has come up for them. which to me is interesting because, first of all, they talked about being an elder spirit connected to Earth. So it makes sense that this King of Pentacles came up, King of the Earthly Realm, someone who has been here a long time and is deeply rooted into this good earth, is deeply rooted into right relationship with this good earth. And also the pentacles are the suit, just as much as they are of the planet, of our human forms, because our human forms are just as much a part of the planet as a tree or a flower. They're very like friendly, perhaps a little quiet at first, but very friendly. I think they're very, I don't know if picky is the right word, but Queer Cosmos always says, not for nothing. Like, that's the vibe that I'm getting. When they say things, it's because it's important to say things. They're not just like yapping, which there's nothing wrong with yapping. I've met me. I know what I like to do, and that's talk. But like when they speak, when they have something to say, it's important. I feel like they speak a lot in story. They speak a lot through story, through allegory. So it's kind of one of those spirits where like you ask them a question and instead of getting yes or no, they're like, here's a story about a rock. And you're like, okay. And it takes a minute to really sink your teeth into the narrative that they're sharing and to see like, like the answer is in here. If I take a moment to like let that soak up and to unpack like the layers of this story. They feel somewhat associated with the Fae, but not tricky. More like justice oriented. Which also makes sense given their relationship to Earth. Something that one of my mentors, Chiron, once said is that the Fae are the justice system of this good Earth. And that's definitely the vibe that I'm getting from them. They're very fair. They're very clear. They're not here to like pull wool over anybody's eyes. When I look at what they're here to help with, it's a couple things. The first is cultivating right relationships. They said, especially in unfamiliar environments, cultivating right relationships in unfamiliar environments. The next thing they're here to support you with is the Five of Swords, and they said resolving tensions in current environments. So they're definitely very much connected to the way we relate to one another. And then on the bottom of the deck here, we have this Two of Pentacles, which speaks to travel, to big changes, and also just like the bumpy kind of unpredictability that comes with these big changes. It's not so much that we can avoid the way things feel kind of like jumbled when we're in the midst of a big transition, but the Spirit is here to help you navigate those bumpy waters so that you can make it to the other side feeling fulfilled, feeling like you're making the right choices, you're doing the right things, you're doing the best that you can in all sincerity. I asked for a name and they gave me John, but I feel like they're like, here's a name. I feel like their name, I don't know, is really old and in a language that I can't understand. So they're like, just call me John, it's fine. But I have a feeling the more that you build relationship with this spirit, the more likely you are to discover a truer name for them. That's it? Yeah. Okay. That's it. John said that's enough. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, just a reminder that if you sent a contribution for a reading, please drop your question into the question bubble next to the comment box, because if you put it in the comments, I won't see it. They move really quickly. Okay, Flower Fairy. Oh, Flower Fairies is here. General guidance focused on finance and career. Okay, you got it. Let's do it. Cut the deck or big shuffle? Cut it. Okay, for Flower Fairy. Am I reading reversals? No. Use the right cards? Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. We have a theme. We have a theme for today. So what the spirits are encouraging you to lean into is the Five of Swords. Now, why would the spirits ask us to lean into such an uncomfy card? Well, my friend, sometimes we have to acknowledge and work through the things that are challenging us. Sometimes the the only way out is through. And it seems in this case, when it comes to finance and career, whatever this obstacle is that's sitting in front of you, we can't ignore it. We can't ignore it, because ignoring it is only going to make it grow. And grow in a way where you're not going to be able to avoid it anymore, and where things get blown up to a much larger capacity than they are in this moment. It feels like right now, as overwhelming as it seems today, right now, you're better off putting some time and energy into addressing this, into having important conversations. Swords are the suit of communication and technology and knowledge and information. And it feels like there's certainly some information. There are some words that need to be expressed, that need to be addressed. And it feels like whatever this little bit of turmoil is, as tempting as it is to continue to just kind of like, I'll deal with that later. I'll deal with that later. Your guides are like, no, you deal with this now. Your guys are like, we deal with this now so that it doesn't become a bigger problem later. So this is the first thing that your spirits are encouraging you to lean into, because even if this situation feels unrelated to career, finance, in the everything everywhere all at once of life, sometimes these things are very much connected. These obstacles stand on the same path that lead us to the things that we desire. So this is something that needs to be addressed. It feels familial, TBH. It feels familial, whether that's birth family, chosen family, family of origin. I'm not certain, but your spirits are like, we can't put this off any longer. Obviously, you're going to do what you want to do. You can put it off for as long as you want. But I will say that your spirits are showing me the Tower on the bottom of the deck. But they're like, do you want that? Like, do you want the big tower to fall? Or can we take time to like do this kind of uncomfy thing in order for you to accomplish the things that are really important to you? It's kind of like what I talked about at the beginning of our readings when I was pulling for the collective and talking about how for me personally, it's been taxes. I don't want to do my taxes. I don't know how to do my taxes. I don't want to spend money on doing my taxes. But if I want to eventually maybe have the real possibility of being able to own a home, I have to sit down and do this thing that is I really do not prefer it. For you, it doesn't seem like something you need to type away at. It seems like a conversation that needs to be had, though. When I look at what your spirits want you to lean out of, it's the King of Pentacles. Interesting. Especially when it comes to finance and career, they're like, you keep thinking about this, but we need you to address this. You keep thinking about this, but we need you to address this. So it certainly feels like there is a more cosmic connection between these two parts of your life, despite our desire for them to be very separate things, and that if we ignore one, we can focus more on the other. For you, it doesn't seem that way. It seems like they are very much connected, and that in order for you to be able to give more of your attention and energy to things like career and finance, you need to address whatever is going on right here. When I look at release, right? The cards are lean in, lean out, release. I have the Ace of Swords. What is it that you're not saying? What is it that you still haven't said? What words do you keep choking down is what I'm hearing. What words do you keep choking down that desire and deserve the opportunity to be voiced and to be heard? I think it's important to know that you can say what you mean without being mean about it. You can speak your truth without being brutal. For your situation, it feels like that's probably a good approach, at least to get you started. I think it's important to petition your spirits before going into this conversation and ask that they offer you the words that will be well heard, well listened to, well received by the audience. If you're struggling with what to say, ask your spirits to show you what to say. Because I think sometimes when we're in this place, like, we can kind of get our Knight of Swords on and just start rah, 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 or we choke it all down and we're like, sure, you're right. Everything's fine. Actually, I don't even know why I called this meeting to order. Ask your spirits instead to support you and to guide you and offer you the words that will be most well received. That way you can speak truthfully and confidently in a manner that you'll actually be heard by the people it matters most to. Okay? Thank you, Flower Fairy. Okay. Magus Femia. I have, your question is here. Having difficulty formulating words, but what am I supposed to do in my current situation? Okay, let's get into it. Is this right deck? Yes. Big shuffle. Okay. You got it. We have hiccups. Welcome everyone who's just joining us. If you'd like to receive a reading, you can send your contribution via the link in my bio. We have the chills. And you can drop your question in the little question bubble next to the comment box. Okay, for Magus. Am I reading reversals? No. The most important thing that you can do in your current situation is they're saying have confidence in your truth. To have confidence in your truth. And if you are struggling with finding confidence in the things you know are right and real in your heart, the things you know are right and real, it feels like it sits in the pit of your stomach. Ask your good spirits to, petition them regularly for the courage and the confidence to do what you know is right. To do what you know in your heart and in your soul is right. And it feels like the conflict comes because what you know to be right is in some sort of opposition with what's become the standard, what's become accepted as the best way, the only way, the preferred way. And there's definitely some turmoil around okay, well, if what I believe is right and true is in opposition to what I've always been told or what the people around me have come to accept is right and true. Am I a bad person? Am I so wrong? Am I wrong? You're going to tell me I'm wrong? But you're not. And that's emphasized here by the star, who is a welcome reminder that we are exactly where we need to be. We're exactly where we need to be, that our thoughts are in the right place, our heart is in the right place. The star is also a reminder to care for yourself. Take a moment, take a deep breath, drink water, make sure there's food in your belly, and then take up your wand and move forward along the path that you know is true and aligned and in right relationship for you. I do see over here this 9 of wands, which is definitely emphasizing that, like, whatever truth that your personal truth is in opposition to, it definitely feels like this is something that has been integrated into your own belief system over time. And so there's definitely a lot of growing and unlearning that is happening, and that can be really uncomfortable. And the star is a really important reminder, especially the star's reminder around caring for yourself in the process, when we are suddenly having realizations that the things we once thought to be correct are perhaps incorrect for us or incorrect for how we see the world. It can be a little bit scary. It can be a little bit overwhelming. And that's why the star is emphasizing the importance of caring for your physical body, your physical well-being as much as possible as you are going through this big change. You're not wrong. You're being honest. And it's really important for you to continue to lean into that honesty, even if not everyone around you agrees. Okay. Thank you, Matches. All right. Bruja Fairchild. Here we go. What would my good spirits like me to know? Is there new one in my spiritual court? That's an interesting question. So I'm just going to address the second part really quickly because I feel like this is a fun learning moment. But when our spiritual courts are really assigned to us at birth, and it's not possible to just have relationships with all of them all at once, right? So when there's a new spirit of your court that appears, it's not that they just arrived. If they're of your court, it's not that they've just arrived. It's that you have the capacity now or the need to start building relationships with them. With that said, you know, there are spirits that are a little bit more like transient in nature, and they'll come in and out of our lives as needed, but they're not necessarily of our spiritual court. You know, every region's version of Espiritismo and understanding of the court is different, but that's what my understanding is from my learned experience. So, what would my good spirits like me to know? Cut the deck or a big shuffle? Cut the deck. Okay. All these people. Look at all these people. Okay, when I look at what your good spirits are encouraging you to lean into, I pulled the Knight of Cups. And what your good spirits are encouraging you to explore now is really your heart's desire. And something that immediately reached out to me are the wings on top of the knight's helmet. And your spirits through the wings are sharing that you don't have to be committed to any one person, to any one desire that your heart carries. This moment now isn't so much about settling in. That's why we're seeing a knight and not a queen or a king. This moment is about exploring, discovering, What do I like here? What don't I like there? What's of interest to me over here? What's of interest to me over there? Spending a little bit of time with all of the different things that light up your spirit right here. Like, it feels like it's resting right here. This pull that's dragging you in all these different directions. And it can feel a little bit overwhelming to have so many interests tugging at your heartstrings. So allow yourself the opportunity to investigate a little bit at a time. There's no need to go all in at this moment. We can't really understand what it is we truly want or truly need until we allow ourselves the opportunity to test and experiment and play around. When I look at what your spirits are asking you to lean out, also, I feel like sweetness in our words is another thing that's coming through this Nine of Cups. Sweetness in our language, sweetness in our words, whether those are the words we use to talk to ourselves, about ourselves, or the words we use to communicate with others. Perhaps you're being called to explore poetry or prose, but there's definitely this element of sweetness in our language that's coming up. When I look at what your spirits are asking you to lean out of, I think it's interesting that the last bit they threw in was sweetness in our language, because what they're asking you to lean out of is the Queen of Swords. And I personally love the Queen of Swords. I think they're great. But one of the, I suppose, unaligned, right? A Queen of Swords out of alignment can be that their words can be a little harsh. To draw on something I said in a past reading, we can speak true, we can say what we mean without being mean about it. We can speak our truth without being brutal about it. And a Queen of Swords out of alignment does not really give a fuck how their words affect others. And you know what? There's a time and a place for that sometimes. And our spirits will certainly let us know when that time and place is, where they're like, fuck it, just say what you mean, because that's all that really matters in this moment. But that doesn't seem to be the case in this situation. Your spirits want you to be a little bit more gentle, a little bit softer, a little bit sweeter in the way that you communicate with yourself, with others. And that is only further emphasized by this final card, Strength. And something that they're sharing with me through Strength is that you need not manage this all on your own. Whatever it is, you need not manage this all on your own. And when we need help, I think it's important that we ask for the help we need in kindness, which is not always easy. Asking for help used to make me really angry. I was angry with myself, but it used to make me really angry. And that frustration with myself for needing support would come out in the way that I asked others for help. And it was not nice. And who the fuck wants to help somebody who's being a total bitch about it? I'm talking about me, not you. I'm talking about me. But something that your spirits are reminding you is you need not carry all of this on your own. And if that is the case, if you do need to ask for the support of others, I think it's going to benefit you to first treat yourself kindly about needing that extra support and extend that kindness to the people you are asking for support from. On the bottom of the deck, I do see the Tower. Again, we have lots of themes today. And through this big transition, the Tower is just an overwhelming card by nature. It's an overwhelming cycle to find ourselves in. But the presence of Strength emphasizes hope. There is no challenge that you cannot overcome. That is what Strength teaches us. The fiercest of lions, we need not fight against, but rather find ways to embrace with our sweetness, so that we are able to do the things that we desire, so that we are able to get through these difficult situations without causing further harm to ourselves and to others. Thank you, Brujita. Okay, let's see who's next. Who's next? Bruja, is your second question about the spirit on this in your court, or was there a different second question? I just want to clarify, because I know you sent for 2, and I want to make sure I'm answering the correct questions. Okay, next we have gotta keep track, Rebecca. Okay. What would my good spirits like me to know about my PhD application process? Yeah, let's talk about it. Big shuffle. Okay. I think this is a good sign. Shuffle again. Okay. Ooh, another good sign. Cut the deck. Cut the deck. Okay. Am I reading reversals? Yes. Okay. My little scarf is falling off. So we're gonna do this. Okay. Bruja, would you drop your second question in the box again? Because I feel like it might have vanished. Please. Rebecca, I have news. So when I look at what your spirits want you to lean into throughout this PhD application process, I pulled the Sun. Which is interesting because as I was shuffling, there was so much yellow that kept coming up on the bottom of the deck. But this is an important reminder that, like, you are following your destiny in this process. You are following your destiny through this process. Every single form you fill out, application you submit, application fee that you pay, like all of this is going toward the inevitable outcome that like you're going to do what you want to do. Whether it be at your first choice school or your third, like you are going to accomplish what you want to accomplish, no matter where you end up. There is success promised, even if the road to success doesn't look exactly the way you have it in mind. Now, when I look at what your spirits want you to lean out of, I pulled the Ace of Swords reversed, and they said leave it reversed. And something that's coming up is the exact words I'm hearing are control only what is within your will. Control only what is within your will. There's so much that is out of your hands in this process. And that's annoying. That's annoying. And also, it's also kind of helpful to know that there's so much out of our hands, because that kind of eliminates some things from our plate and gives us clearer direction on where we can focus our time, our energy, and our attention. That which is beyond your control, let it go. Let it go. And just focus on what you can do. Focus on what you do best. Focus on what you are able to do, what is well within your reach to do. And the rest, you give it up to your good spirits and to the other people who are involved in this process, and have faith that no matter what, you're going to accomplish what you are going to accomplish. No matter where, no matter when, it's going to happen. Lastly, when I look at what your spirits are asking you to release, I pulled the Six of Swords, and I feel like you've done a lot of releasing around the Six of Swords, especially in the last 2 years of us working together. But your good spirits are encouraging you to consider, like, what are some other ways maybe you're overspending your energy? What are some areas that you might still be giving a little bit too much of yourself? Because it's not that, you know, you're suddenly going from being a person who is deeply invested in community and deeply invested in finding ways to create access and care. But you're in the process of doing something that's important for you so that you can continue that legacy in different and bigger and important ways. So if there are any ways that you're still feeling like, I'm stretched a little thin here, I'm stretched a little thin there, but I gotta do it. Ask your good spirits, do you really? Like, do you really still gotta do it right now? Because there are new ways that you will be cultivating throughout this PhD process and on the other side. And it's okay if there's a couple more things or one more thing that you just kind of need to let go. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Hierophant, which is an excellent indicator along with this Sun card that this PhD process is important. It is something that is accomplishable, and that it is something that is very aligned for you in this present season of your life. Thank you, Rebecca. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Okay. Ronnie. I feel like I just saw it. There we go. What would my good spirits like me to know about my current journey into deepening my spiritual practice? It's something I've been consciously working on this year, but I'd like to know if the good spirits can guide me in my next steps. Absolutely. Which, this one. Same spread? Yeah, okay, just a different deck. Understand. Cut the deck, okay. I think it's funny that on the bottom of the deck, direction came up. Direction. And I think that's just kind of like cheeky because you're sitting here asking for direction, asking for clarity in which way to move and to focus. When I look at what your spirits are encouraging you to do, all of this, got it, all of this. So the first thing I pulled is candle. And this feels like your spirits are asking you to explore your relationship to the element of fire, the idea of light. And you can do this by working with actual candles. You can do this by working with something that I've been really wanting to investigate is oil lamps instead of candles. I feel like they're more sustainable. You can also do this with, like, you know who did this before, who showed me this idea? It was Dom of Queer Catholic Mystic, like consecrated and blessed those battery operated candles. And I thought that was brilliant. You can also build relationship with fire by building relationship with plants that have a fiery energy, like rosemary. Some plants are hot, some plants are cool, and rosemary is a very hot plant. But investigating your relationship to fire and light, I feel like that's also really appropriate this time of year when there are so many different cosmologies in the northern hemisphere that are going through winter that have stories about light. Boom, that's what it is. That's where we're getting to. Folklore. Now is a good time for you to start investigating folklore of your lineage, yes, but also of the lineage of the people whose land where you live right now. both feel important. And even more specifically, what are the myths that surround, what are the stories that surround how light came to be, how fire came to be? Those are some of my favorite stories, because very often it is the trickster who brings light to humans, trickster in many different forms. So it feels like that's a really fun little research project that your spirits are encouraging you to explore. Where does the fire come from? Who does the fire come from? Who do I give my thanks to for this gift? The next thing that I'm seeing is prayer. Praying to your spirits. Giving your prayer as offerings. Using your prayer as petitions. Starting to build consistency in your prayer is important. That's why I use the rosary on this particular card, because prayer isn't something that we just do once and we're done. Prayer is a routine. It is a ritual, and finding what your rhythm is for this ritual feels really important. Finally, we have service. This is probably my favorite card in this entire deck. But one of the things that I share with my Into the Veil students is that I think Espiritismo is cool because first it teaches us how to care for ourselves. Care for our bodies, care for our spirits, care for our hearts, our minds. Teaches us how to care for our altars and to be good acolytes. Teaches us how to care for our families, whomever our family is comprised of. And then finally, it teaches us altruism. It teaches us how to show up for our greater community, and how acts of service for our community are just as important as putting flowers on the altar. Because spirituality that is approached holistically, like spirituality, magic that it is approached as a worldview, a way of living, incorporates the necessity to care for one another. And your good spirits are asking you to consider, what are the ways that I am able to be of service beyond my household? Or, what are the ways you're able to be of service to the 4 people closest to you? And go from there. But that feels like an important investigation, an important part of your journey at this time. That was a good question. Thank you. Okay. Me lucha libre. Me lucha. Here we go. Hello. I've been wanting to know if my partner and I have been together in past lives. If so, which ones stand out most? If not, is there any insight or advice my spirit guides have for us? Okay. So, that was a few different questions. The way I'm going to approach this is whether or not there is an alternate life connection. I don't necessarily believe in like past lives because time's not linear. It's all happening at the same time in a big spiral, and it hurts my head when I think about it too hard. Here nor there. Whether or not there is a connection in a different lifetime, A, and then B, regardless of what the first card says, some advice from your guides regarding your partnership. Yes. Yes, there is an alternate life connection. And it feels like... Am I reading this reversed? Both. Okay. All right. So yes, there's certainly a connection from a different lifetime. When I look at the next card that they offered me specifically around advice for the two of you, advice for this partnership, I pulled the Six of Swords reversed. And something they are asking you to consider is, are we showing up equally and fairly in this partnership, right? I think fairly is the important thing to emphasize. Because relationships are rarely 100% equal. Like, somebody is always going to do more of something. One person might do more of the grocery shopping and the food preparation. Another person might do more of another thing. Like, okay, for example, like, I am the primary caregiver to my kids, and I do most of the food shopping and the food preparation for our household. My partner physically can't be here as much because he works a lot more, but he also pays a lot more in bills, and it works for us. But we're more about fairness. You know, we want to make sure everything feels fair for everyone. And your spirits are asking you to consider whether or not things feel fair right now, and what conversations that you can have with one another to kind of like balance those scales out so everybody feels comfortable, cared for, accounted for, seen in this partnership, right? That was a fun question. Okay. Laura. I have a contribution on my Venmo that says Flash Friday for Laura, and I just don't know what your screen name is. So if you could drop it in the question box, that would be cool, because I don't want to miss you. Bruja Fairchild, I see your second question. Let me pull it up right now. Advice on which spiritual gift I should be focusing on and how to strengthen it. This deck again. Okay. This deck again. Cut the deck. Okay. So I received the Protect card, which is telling me that, and alongside of it, I received the Understanding card. And what I'm hearing from the spirits is that they would like you to spend time strengthening your protection practices, building relationships with your guardian spirits, investing time and attention in talking to them and getting to know them, and also asking them to be of assistance to you in whatever spiritual protection practices you prefer, whether it's visualization or enchanting items or doing rituals, what have you. I think our strongest protection practices are ones that are supported by our guardian and warrior and protector spirit. So getting to know them, spending time with them is going to be really helpful for you. On the bottom of the deck, I do think it's important, this dance card popped up, and it feels like that's the way you invoke your guardian spirit, through dance. You invoke them through dance. I think that's cool. Spirits who like to be invoked through dance. Vivir pura vida. Is that Laura? Laura. Understood. Okay. Laura, what do the spirits who want the best for me need me to hear or focus on now? You got it. This one. Okay, we're switching decks for you, Laura. Big shuffle. Okay. Do it again. Okay. Cut the deck. Okay. All right, Laura. On the bottom of the deck is where they're having me start, and we have the Five of Swords, who's kind of been a little bit of a stalker card today. They're talking about how there's a turbulence that rests in your heart and has been following you for some time now. And they're talking about how it feels like you've had to fight or stand up for yourself for a long time. And what your spirits are saying, what they're encouraging you to do, is to turn the fight over to them. It's no longer your battle to prove yourself, to prove your worth, to prove your position, to prove your worth. And this doesn't mean we're acquiescing and that whomever is involved in this situation is winning or they're right. No. They're saying, you wash your hands of this and turn it over to the altar. And turn it over to the altar. Turn it over to the altar. Because your mind, your heart, and your spirit deserve the opportunity to pursue the things that bring them joy and tenderness and bliss, rather than having to be consumed with this thing that's been lingering for far too long, in your spirit's opinion. Let them carry that burden for you now, because they want to. They're here to help. And it feels like you've done all that you can do. I'm kind of getting like talking to a wall energy. Like, what is there to say at this point that you haven't already said, that you haven't already done? Let them wage this battle for you so that you can focus more on the things that bring you joy. And that's further emphasized here by these three cards. We have the King of Cups, we have the Ace of Pentacles, we have the Ten of Cups. Rather than giving any more time and attention to this, it is time to take that time, take that attention back, and pour it into the things that make your heart feel good, feel cared for. Pour it into the people who see you for who you are and embrace you for this. Who see you for who you are, and rather than creating a problem where there doesn't really need to be one, they want to create family. They want to create community. Leaning into the things that bring you further opportunity to access more resource, be it time, money, energy, what have you. Those are the things that your good spirits are asking you to pour into instead. They said, your time to fight is done. Let us fight for you so that you can live. Your time to fight is done. Let us fight for you so you can live instead. That's a good one. Someone write that down. Okay, Carolina, for those of you who are just joining us, if you'd like to receive a reading, you can click the link in my bio to send payment, and then you can drop your question in the question box right here. Thank you so much, Laura. All right, who's next? Carolina. Asking on behalf of Mario. Hi, Mario. Do any of his spirit guides, ancestors want to share their names? What advice or words do they have to share with him? Yeah. Ooh, there's one here. He's definitely like of the commission of Brujos. A skilled sorcerer. That's a vibe. His name is, I'm getting Raul. Ooh. He's kind of intense. A little intimidating even. But even a little bit trickstery, like a little bit naughty, but surrounded by a lot of light. Surrounded by a lot of light. So this isn't a turbulent spirit, though he could be if he wanted to, and maybe has been in the past. But he's very much of the light and of Mario's spiritual court now. He's kind of funny. He says he's here to keep the flame lit under his ass. He's here to keep you busy, Mario. He's here to keep you busy pursuing the things that are exciting and interesting and important to you. He's emphasizing how there's so much to accomplish still. There's so many things that you want to do. And the greatest sorcerer uses the resources immediately in front of them to bring their dreams to life, to bring their dreams to life. And that's very much the type of guidance and support Raul desires to offer you now, but really always. They're also kind of funny, a little cheeky, kind of giving like a older brother kind of vibe, or like young uncle, older brother, young uncle, that kind of vibe is what I'm getting from them. They wear like coal. They wear coal around their eyes. And they're particularly skilled when it comes to like money, access to resource. They have a really great smile. And, ooh, I just got a chill. They're here whenever you are ready to talk to them. They're like, just call out to me. Also works. Writing also works. But he prefers your voice. Kind of like Ursula, huh? Your voice. Thank you, Mario. Okay, Rani, second question. You got it. I just saw it. Where'd it go? Here we go. Click. What are my good spirits' thoughts on me pursuing nursing after years of saying I didn't want to be a nurse? LOL, that's so cute. Okay, let's find out. I heard them say, silly baby. Like you're their baby. I think that's sweet when our spirits call us their babies. Cut the deck. they think it's a good idea. They think that this is an opportunity that you will grow into. And more importantly, enjoy. This is an opportunity that not only you'll grow into professionally, you're going to like doing it, which is nice. Oh, like, isn't that everybody's dream, that we actually enjoy our vocation, enjoy the thing that we do that brings us dollars so that we can eat and pay rent and exist? This feels like they said it's the right time now. It's the right time now. Perhaps in the past, it hasn't been the right time, and that's why you've said no, I have no interest. And this sudden inclination is not by coincidence, it's by design. I think what's also interesting is that it feels like this new path brings aligned relationships into your life. My mommy is a nurse, and it certainly seems, at least to me, secondhand, viewing her last 40 years of nursing, like it seems like a very social occupation. But it feels like this opportunity not only is an opportunity for growth in your career and realizing that this is something you might actually be quite passionate about, but this is also an opportunity to bring in aligned relationships, to bring in friendships. This is also an opportunity to integrate a few different parts of yourself. I think there's a part of you that sees nursing as separate from these other parts of you that are important and interesting, but in a way, this brings an opportunity to integrate these different parts of you. I think it's also interesting that in this card we have the caduceus here, which is a symbol for medicine. Finally, we have the 8 of Cups, but it came out reversed, and it's hey, you've been pouring so much into saying, I never, ever, ever want to do that, and it's okay if all of a sudden you're actually, let me look at those cups. Let me go look at those cups, because there might be something in there that I do want. I do really want. So, have fun. Have fun and pour yourself seriously into this vocation. If this is something you do end up following through with, pour yourself into it with sincerity, with courage, with passion, because what you pour into this opportunity will be returned unto you. Okay? Thank you, Ronnie. That was a fun question. Astral Tripper. That's a great screen name. Is there anything I need to be aware of in transition to moving my public practice into my home studio? Ooh, let's find out. You do some sort of service work? I feel like that's a good sign so far. Hair, tattoos, something like that. Yeah, okay. This is good. This is interesting. So it feels like your spirits don't want you to look back. They don't want you to look back and sit in oh, should I have stayed? Should I have stuck that out longer? Should I have found different ways to make that work? It feels like that chapter of your public practice is readings and limpias. Okay. It feels like that part of your public practice, it's it's done. It's done, and that's okay. There's no reward in wondering how you could have done things differently, at least in this particular situation, or wondering if you should have stuck it out and found a way to keep making it work. At least in this moment, in this situation, like that is done. And it feels like it's important that that door is closed. It feels really important that that door is closed. When I look at the next card, I have the Six of Wands, which I think is a really lovely affirmation that you've made the right choice. You've made the right choice. You're doing the right thing. And that this opportunity is not only going to be better for you internally, but it also feels like your clients are going to respond really well to this change. So we love that for you. Finally, I think this is the most important part. We have the Five of Wands. So what's important to remember, especially if you're doing readings and limpias, like everybody's shit is coming into your house now. Like whatever stuff that they're bringing with them, whatever fears, frustrations, sadness, spirits, that's all coming to your house now. Don't panic. It's going to be okay. But this does mean that your good spirits want you to make sure that you are taking extra time to care for the spiritual integrity of your space. Setting appropriate spiritual boundaries in whatever traditions work well for you, be it visualization, ritual, symbols, talismans, what have you. What are you doing to make sure that like the readings stay within the container that you've created for them? What processes are you doing before, after, in between readings to clear out any energy from not only the space, but from yourself before you walk back into your living room? It's going to take a little bit of experimenting and adjusting as you're going to do the work, and it isn't doing the work that you're going to say like, this is something I need to start integrating into my spiritual hygiene. But that's the most important thing that your spirits want you to consider. This decision does seem like a good one for you right now. I don't feel like it's permanent. It feels like it's a for now thing, and that's okay. I think you need this opportunity to be close to home. But just make sure that you're starting to consider, and as you begin seeing clients in your home, you're continuing to consider, what are the things I need to do to maintain the spiritual integrity of my space and keep my work and the spirits and energies that come in through my work separate from my household. Okay. It feels like herb bundles are really important. Like obviously, like if you're doing limpias, yes, but like on the doorway or in the entrance or the exit, allowing plants, asking the plants to be your partners in creating those energetic, those spiritual, even physical boundaries between your profession and your personal space, right? That's so cool. You're doing readings and limpias at home. I love that. Okay. Alexandra M left their question here. So, Alexandra, been seeing what looks like a portal or vortex close. It's been very quick and it's not that big. The first was outside my window, second in my apartment, and last was in the kitchen, and it looked like a small candle flame that went out. I wasn't scared. Any guidance? Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, I don't think I need cards for this. I need a pen. What are they at? It's a guardian. Yes. This is a spirit that you've inherited from an ancestor. Again, they emphasize that they're a guardian. They said small ones. Oh, I think they're a duende. Yeah. Yes. 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 Okay. And it feels like what they're sharing with me is like the light the portal, the spinning light, the portal. Oh wow, they're talking a lot. Okay, which part do you want me to say first? They're annoyed with me because my brain doesn't move as fast as theirs. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's okay. It feels like the portal has something to do with switching between the unseen and the seen worlds. They're talking about how they live both in this reality and a separate one. Yet they are both the same. It's like the layers of dimensions and realms. They bounce between them. They have a little beard. They would like you to know that. And like, I don't know if there's like a space in your home where you have like a doom pile. Like I certainly have, you know, the laundry pile. But they're like, can you clean that up? Can you clean that up? Sometimes, and I feel like this is kind of associated with like spring cleaning too. When we go through those big seasonal things where we're getting rid of a bunch of shit, we're cleaning stuff out, we're getting rid of all the piles. Sometimes in our piles, that's space where either stagnant energy can sit, or even where like less than kind energies and entities can hang out. I don't feel anything that you need to be concerned about, but I can tell that your guardian spirit here is like, that pile could be a problem. So it could be a junk drawer. I don't know. But it feels like wherever your pile is, like your special secret pile, he wants you to clean it up. He wants you to clean it up. He's like, now. Go now. And he keeps talking again about how like he's a guardian. He's a guardian. He's a guardian. He said, see you again. See you again. See you again. He's gone. I like him. He's a little bit grumpy. His like baseline is irritated, and I adore that. Okay, Lisa. Hi, sweet Lisa. The beard detail. Yes, I love the beard. I feel like if you wanted to, you could probably, like, when and if you see the right one, like a little statue or figurine for him. I feel like you'll know when you see it. Cut the deck or shuffle it? Cut the deck. Okay. I miss Lisa. Okay, so when I look at what your spirits are encouraging you to lean into right now, I have the 8 of Cups. And they're talking about leaving certain expectations behind. Leaving certain expectations behind. They're talking about how there's a lot of shedding of layers this winter. And how that can be uncomfortable given the climate. But it's also liberating to let go. When I look at what your spirits are encouraging you to lean away from, lean out of, I pulled the Knight of Wands reversed. And they told me to read it reversed. They're talking about releasing the things that have chipped away at your confidence. Embracing the things that build that confidence up again. And I think one way your spirits are sharing that you can work to build that confidence. Like, of course, like I always say, first thing, you petition your spirits. You ask them for what it is that you need. Grant me the courage, grant me the confidence. And also, I think doing something that is fun can help build our confidence. You don't necessarily need to be good at it, but to experience enjoying yourself while you're doing something certainly helps to rebuild our confidence. It feels like there's some sort of connection to the things that were interesting to you when you were like 11, 12, you know, that like tween, preteen time that can be really awkward and strange. Like revisiting that version of you is going to be really helpful through this cycle. Finally, and it feels like not only revisiting that version of you, but also integrating some of the things that maybe she needed, she wanted, she wished she could have done more of. Finding ways to bring that into your present life is going to be really helpful over this winter season. I think it's funny, on the bottom of the deck, we have that Ace of Pentacles, because since I've met you, the spirits have been saying, like, there's some random check coming. So they're continuing. I don't know if it's like a long con or what, but it's funny at this point. So eventually it's going to come, and I can't wait. I have no idea what it is. Thank you, Lisa. Look at these. What's happening? What's happening? It's not doing it for me. Okay. I want my bangs to look like Sabrina Carpenter, but instead they're giving like 2000s bangs. I'm just gonna pin them back. They're driving me crazy. Fix them later. Lauren. Good to have you here. Okay. Wondering what the spirits have to say about the decision I made about Spokane and if there's any advice for getting through it. Okay. Very chatty today. Everyone's so chatty. I think this is like a nice little affirmation in the deck split to start. An affirmation of your choice. Cut the deck. Already? Okay. Am I reading reversals? No. All right. So, when it comes to the decision that you made in Spokane, your spirits are like, you did the right thing. It might have been uncomfortable. You might still be feeling a little bit unsure of yourself, hence why you're asking about it today. But you certainly did what was right for you. What was right for you in that moment. What was right for you at the time. And what is still right for you now, more importantly. You made a difficult decision, but it was one made in good faith. And your spirits want to emphasize that, like, despite the discomfort, you are moving in a direction that is more aligned for who you know yourself to be. Who you know yourself to be. When it comes to advice, it feels like the decision making is not done, my friend, especially with this Two of Swords here. The decision making is not done. And your spirits don't want this most recent experience to leave you feeling like you are incapable of making good choices, when in fact you've proven that, like, you can do it. You can do hard things. You can make difficult decisions despite not having all of the information, despite not knowing where those decisions might lead you in the moment. You are capable of making those tough calls. What I think is important to remember is that in these moments when we are blinded, when we're feeling really nervous to put those swords down and take a step forward, is that we turn to our spirits. We turn to that little voice within, the one that's getting louder and louder. That voice inside of you that keeps getting louder and who keeps getting braver and who keeps encouraging you to continue on this path of growth. Continue on this path of choosing right relationship for yourself in this lifetime. And even when the cards aren't all laid out in front of you, pardon the pun, that you can make decisions with the support of your good spirits, with your spiritual practice. The other thing that's important is like, you don't always have to make these choices alone. Whether it's the support of the spirits around you or the living who are around you. You do not always have to make these decisions alone. And more importantly, you do not have to bear the consequences alone. Consequences are not inherently bad. They are things that follow the decisions that we make. And sometimes they feel really good, and sometimes they feel not so good, and sometimes they feel kind of neutral. It doesn't really affect you one way or another. But the most important thing to remember is that you do not need to bear the burden of these consequences alone. There are spirits around you, and there are people around you who are willing to offer you support with what follows the choices you make. But you must be willing to be brave enough to ask for the support you need and vulnerable enough to receive the support that you need. And that's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. And I think that we come to expect that we should be able to do certain things on our own. But humans were not designed to be lone wolves. We were designed to be in community with one another, whether it's the living or the dead. And your spirits are encouraging you to call out for the support that you need when the consequences arrive in your life. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Six of Cups, and it feels like relationship with family, relationship with children in particular is really important right now. So doing what you can to lean into that, to nurture that, is a good place to focus your energy, especially if you're kind of like stuck on what it is you're supposed to do next. Spend some time here in this realm, and you'll find that the clarity comes from that experience. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's see who's next. Okay, I have a contribution from Celsa, but it doesn't say your IG name, and it doesn't have a question. So if you're here, if you could drop your question in the little box, that would be great. Fresh Only Bakery, I realize you don't know what this was about, but you answered exactly as if you did. I'm bawling. Oh, okay. Hugs. Celsa is Moners. Okay, got it. Thank you, thank you. What do my good spirits want me to do about how I can help my child at the moment? You got it. Ooh. Shuffle, big shuffle. Yeah, okay. Interesting. One more time, okay. So what your spirits are encouraging you to lean into when it comes to your child is the Queen of Cups. And I love that because the Queen of Cups encourages us to embrace emotion, to put our time, our energy into compassion and care, and to make it known that these are things that are available to those who desire them. Let me show you how I feel about you. Let me tell you how I feel about you. Let me align my actions with how much I care about you and your life and your choices. What your spirits are encouraging you to pull away. And also, I'm not sure how old your kiddo is or what they're going through. But as parents, I think sometimes, at least in my relationship with my kids, I try to find ways that I can relate my story and my experiences to theirs so that they can see that there are choices and opportunities in front of us. Most recently, my littlest sent some not so friendly things in their little iMessage group chat with their friends, because they sent them because one of the kids was unkind to their bestie, and so they sent some words, and I was like, my friend, you can't say that. You can't say that. I know you're mad, and I know that's where all the feelings are coming from, but you can't say that. And their response was I'm a bad person, I did this thing, da da da. And I had to tell them, look, I have made so many horrible choices in this life. And I know that you don't know me from that time. You only see mom now, right? But you see the mom that you have now because I was able to learn from those experiences. And I realized that there's always an opportunity to do better and to do differently. That the world does not end when we make a choice that is out of character. The world presents us with chances to reconcile and to be the person we know ourselves to be. And we continue to lean into that. And the more we do it, the more we prove to ourselves, most importantly, and the world around us, that we are the person we know ourselves to be. And it feels like through the Queen of Cups, your good spirits are inviting you to be a little bit vulnerable and offer some sort of relation to things that you've experienced in your life to your child in ways that, are appropriate for whatever their age is. When I look at what your spirits are asking you to lean out of, lean away from, it's the Page of Pentacles. And I think it's interesting because the pages are often associated with kids. But the Page of Pentacles is, who am I? Who am I? And I think it's sometimes hard to realize that we don't get to choose. It can be hard to realize that we don't get to choose who our children are. We don't get to choose what their identities are in this lifetime. We can only guide them and embrace them and encourage them to take whatever they discover about themselves and move forward with it in a way that is in right relationship with themselves and the world around us. My oldest is a Gemini, a triple Gemini, and quite a trickster. And I can't take that away from them. I can't make them not the little, tricky trickster, sly grin kid that they are, but I can encourage them to see the ways that they can channel that energy into something that is good for themselves and the world around them. And this is kind of the space that your spirits are asking you to explore. You can't decide who your kid is, but how can you help them to shape who they are in a way that is someone they'll be proud of. Finally, I have the Five of Swords, and this is what your spirits are asking you to release. Release the conflict. The battlefield with our kiddos is one that we will often lose at as parents. The fight is futile. Rather than arguing, how can you lean into the Queen of Cups to support what your little is experiencing? It can be hard because a lot of us, like, arguing is what we know. Like, I'm 35. Like, my parents, I think, are Gen X. They're kind of young. But their parents before them, like, there was no gentle. There was neglect and screaming. And if you grow up in a Latin household, you also get made fun of on top of that. So, like, what are the tools that you can pull from the Queen of Cups to approach the situation with compassion, fluidity, gentleness, rather than like argument, rather than argument, right? On the bottom of the deck, we have the Magician, and it feels like this is more relative to your child in that they're really at this moment in their life where they are seeing all these different parts of themselves that they've come to discover, and they're trying to figure out what to do with it. And part of being a kid, no matter how old you are, like, is making mistakes. Making giant, sometimes embarrassing, sometimes detrimental, sometimes small mistakes. And rather than throwing it all away, seeing like, okay, I've mixed all these different elements and this didn't work out, so I'm just gonna throw it all away and hide in the closet and decide that, like, I am not a good person. Like, rather than that, your spirits are encouraging you to say, like, hey, like, these ingredients are still good. These things are still good. You're still good. Let's just try something different. You can always try something different. It's never too late. Okay? Thank you, thank you. Okay, Alyssa. Pursue happiness. Okay, got it. Nobody humbles you like your children. No. No one humbles you more than your own children. It's incredible. It surprises me every day. I want to work on psychic protection and clearing on a past caregiver. Any advice is welcome. Yeah. Big shuffle. Okay. This is the right deck. Yeah. Okay. This is good. Cut the deck. Okay. So I'm immediately seeing this Ten of Swords reversed, and this is affirming that there is still some sort of like a psychic connection between the two of you. I can feel it. It's yucky. And it feels like it's unconscious on their part. It's not so much that, like, someone is casting something over you. Somebody is intentionally trying to maintain this psychic connection. It's very much unintentional. Like, they literally cannot help themselves. They cannot help themselves. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it okay. But it's helpful in knowing how to approach the situation, to know whether somebody is intentionally, like, casting a connection between the two of you, or if they just don't even realize that they're doing it. It feels like a big part of why this is happening is resentment. There's some resentment on their part about however things unfolded with y'all. And that resentment is so like on fire, like so tangible now that it's fostering this psychic connection between the two of you. I feel like for you, it's this space here and here. It's in this space here and here. Like your thyroid down to just below your sternum. I should take a biology class for real. It feels like it's hanging out right here. And so when you do your cord removal, whether you're doing it in the shower and like physically removing cords, or you're doing it through visualizations, I would make sure to like pluck, pull up, and pluck whatever attachments you feel are resting here. Also, like there's something of theirs still in your space. And I don't want you to like lose your mind trying to find it, because it could be just something that they dropped and it like fell under the couch, right? But if there's something that you can think of, or whenever you do come across it, like get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. It feels like cleansing's not enough for whatever that thing is. So when you come across it, get it out. Throw it in a trash can away from your home, if possible. At the very least, outside trash, not inside trash. This is also going to help with dissolving the connection between the two of you. It also feels like there might be an alternate life connection between the two of you, and that's part of like why this person feels they're owed. I think that's part of why their resentment is so big too. They don't even realize it. They still feel owed from a previous lifetime. And TBH, your spirits disagree. They're like, this person's owed nothing. Like, whatever happened in this alternate lifetime, this past life, like they weren't correct in their perception of the truth. So I would make sure that as you are saying your prayers or petitions while you're doing your cord removal, to ask that like connections from this lifetime and any lifetime be removed in this process. Any karmic debts or spiritual or soul level debts be dissolved and resolved like now as you remove those cords, you remove those connections. Your good spirits are very much here to support you in this process. Be sure to call on them, especially your healing spirits, especially your spirits of water, your maternal spirits. Ask them to be present and to help you with this process. It feels like rue, the plant rue, will also be helpful in eliminating the connection between the two of y'all. It might be nice to like burn a little dried rue on a charcoal disc if you can while you are doing the thing. I feel like burning some rue on a disc will also help clear out whatever energy they might still have within your space, your personal space, okay? And then I think you might be in Moon Shadows. And if you are, you should check out the Love, Vows, and the Afterlife workshop, because even though it's focused on like romantic relationships, the tools and tech that we go over in that class would be helpful in this situation too. Posh Ice, you're next. Having a hard time at work with an emotionally unstable dick of a boss. We hate them. Do my good guides have any advice as to how to get out of here and get into a better job situation? Yes. Is this the right deck? Ooh, yes. Okay. I heard we thought you'd never ask. Oh, this is a good sign. Okay. We thought you'd never ask. One more time. Okay. Another good sign. Cut the deck. Okay. My little headphones are falling out. After this, I need to refill my water, and then I might like shove a little food in my mouth, and then I'll get to the rest of all of our questions. Okay. All right, so I think part A to this, first of all, I just have to show you all the cards because they're very nice. So on the bottom of the deck, we have the Star along with the Ace of Pentacles. This is good sign for getting to what's next. We also have the Queen of Pentacles, the Six of Wands. These are all very nice for this particular situation. And finally, we have the Knight of Swords. Okay, your good spirits are asking you to like turn it over to them, specifically when it comes to your boss. And, you know, here's what I'm getting. Like, use the tools at your disposal to protect your peace, to protect your energy while you're still there. Do what you need to do, put them in your shoe, do whatever it is you need to when it comes to like domination magic, etc., in order to make it as comfortable as possible while you're still there. It does feel like this might be one of those situations where after you're gone, like that's when the real reconciliation begins. Like the most abusive work environment I've ever been in was when I worked for this wealthy couple. Like abusive, scary, sickening. And I was like, wow, they're just gonna fucking get away with this forever, huh? And so eventually I found another job and left. And after I left, their house burned down. I have nothing to do with it. It was during the Malibu fires. It was not me. Their house burned down and they had to close all of their stores. And Caruso and some of the other, like Westfield, ended up suing them for not paying rent. And multiple employees that came after me sued for, you know, hostile work environment and shit. But it didn't happen until after I was gone. But I'm so glad it happened. And it feels like true justice does not occur until after you leave, my friend. So be patient. Do what you can to protect your peace spiritually while you're still there. And instead of pouring your energy into like getting even magic, pour it into finding the next opportunity magic. Now's the time to start focusing all of your prayers and petitions on finding the next job and asking your good spirits for the clarity to see what choices you need to make in order to take that next job. Keep putting out into the realm of spirit what your desire is, and also make sure that you are taking actions that align with what it is that you want next. Make a petition, write a list of the things that you need: money, pay time off, do you need health insurance, all of the things that are important to you with this next job. Do you want to work from home? Do you want to work in an office? Do you want to work in a retail environment? Do you want to work in a creative space? These are all the different things your spirits want you to sit down and consider. Put it all on a list. They might not be able to knock every single thing off the list, but they'll probably get quite a few of them and get you into a situation that feels more comfortable. Somebody there is probably going to annoy you, such as life, but if everything else is so good, then it's kind of worth, you know, putting up with somebody who's a little bit annoying while you're in the next situation. Your good spirits want you to, this is more like practical advice, like take a look at your resume and like zhuzh it up a bit. Now's a good time to like have a second set of eyes on it, rework it, fix it, make it so that it makes sense. Do that after you make your petition. So first you're going to sit down, you're going to write a list of all the things that you want and need from your next job. Then you're going to sit down with your resume and make some adjustments so that it aligns with the type of opportunities that you're trying to call in. It feels like this next job is probably going to come in March, which I know feels far away, but nobody's hiring in December or January. November's almost over. Nobody's hiring in December or January because of, you know, like the end of the quarter, what have you. Lots of people are getting let go though in January. So it's going to take a little bit of time. Protect your peace however you can, spiritually, emotionally. Bring your tools with you so that you can cleanse before and after. Go to your little mind palace in the sky when you lock yourself in the bathroom at work, like I've certainly done. And have faith in knowing that the next thing is coming, and that with the help of your spirits, you're making the decisions that bring you closer to that opportunity. I think it's also good to like talk to people outside of the office and let them know like you're looking for something else. Outside of your current work environment, let them know you're looking for, oh, do you know of anything? Do you know of anything? I might be interested in trying something new. You don't even have to like talk shit about your current boss, even though they're terrible. Wait until you're all the way out and the next contract is signed. Then you talk shit. But just let them know, oh, I'm just looking for something. Oh, I just want to know what else is out there. Oh, I want to try something different. You know, make it cute when you're networking. And once you are officially locked into the new thing, if you feel compelled to, then you can drag him or them, whomever they are, publicly. Okay? Good question. All right, let's see. I have 1, 2, 3 here. And there's probably some on the PayPal. I'm going to really quickly screenshot all of your questions that are still here. I'm going to go refill my water bottle, just in case, because sometimes they disappear. I'm going to go refill my water bottle, and then I will get to the rest of you. I think we're going to get through everyone today, which is great. Love that. Drink some water while I'm doing it. Let's all drink water. Eat a snack. Let's all do it together. Okay, be right back. Hello. The hood was bothering me, so I'm borrowing my son's hat. This is from the El Sereno Greengrocer, and if you haven't been there, please go check them out. My bangs are really bothering me. I want Sabrina Carpenter, but they're giving me like Ashley Tisdale in High School Musical. I used to have a really cool white beanie, and I can't find it anywhere. It was perfect for this time of year. Okay, who's next? Cambodia. All right. There's something stuck to my mouth. Okay. Let's see. Hello, I'd like to ask something I don't like asking often. My love life, why it feels like it never seems to work out. Does it have to do with my transitions in life at the moment? Okay. Excuse me. I just ate a banana so fast. Now I have the hiccups. Let's talk about it. Yes, I will save and post this live. So if you can't stick around for your question, it will be on my main feed later. So fear not. Fear not. Okay, let's talk about love. Ooh, it's cold. Okay. Cut the deck. So first things first, on the bottom of the deck we have strength. And strength is encouraging you to give yourself some compassion through this process. Finding romantic relationship in this season of Earth is weird. It's challenging. I really feel like between, app dating in particular and just, the existential dread of feeling like the world is ending, even though I am certain it is not, makes it hard for some people to want to connect on a deeper level. And it makes it challenging for the people who do want to connect on a deeper level to find those folks whose interests romantically align. So extending yourself some compassion in this process and some patience in this process is going to be really helpful. The other thing I heard is you've got to kiss a few frogs. You've got to kiss a few frogs in the process. It is what it is. It's the nature of, am I reading reversals? No. Okay. It's the nature of this life. We have to experience what we don't like to get a better understanding of what we do. We have to experience what we do like and lose it to get a better understanding, a better perspective on what it is we want to hold on to, what it is that we value. So that's something that's coming up to start. The next thing is, what are they telling me? I have the Six of Cups here, and I'm just trying to understand what part of the Six of Cups they want me to share. Oh, chills. Okay, so it feels like there's some nostalgia here. Nostalgia is an interesting thing because it can work in a couple ways. It can bring us comfort, it can bring us inspiration, and also it can create obstacles because rather than seeing what's in front of us and what's ahead, we're too busy romanticizing about what once was but no longer is, which also makes sense just in the astrological timing of it all. We're sitting in the midst of a Mercury retrograde, or at the start of it, I believe. And that is certainly something that tends to come up around this particular transit. The next thing I'm sensing is like feelings of worth in a younger version of you, not necessarily like an inner child, but like different version, maybe like teenage. Yeah, it feels like teenage you. There's some stuff around self-worth, worth in relationships that your good spirits are asking you to explore when it comes to your inner teen and some of the things they may have experienced or come to have learned, whether those things that they have learned are in fact true about who you are and what you need in this life, or whether those things might be incorrect and not aligned with who you know yourself to be and what you know yourself to deserve. So that's something that your spirits are encouraging you to explore. It does feel like in this season, you're going through a lot of movement physically, quite literally. But you're right, like you really are in this very transitional period where there's a lot of travel involved. We're seeing a lot of different places, experiencing new things, and it can be hard to root into a relationship when we ourselves are not physically rooted one place on this earth. Does that mean that you should stop going out and seeing the world and trying new things? Certainly not. And it doesn't mean that like we can only find love when we're in one place for an extended period of time. But it's like that's been the focus, and in a good way. That's been the focus in a great way. You were meant to have this time for yourself to see and to explore and experience. What your spirits are encouraging you to do is to continue like nourishing yourself. Continue nourishing yourself, doing those things you need to do in order to support your body, your mind, your spirit, continuing to give yourself care and compassion and tenderness and affection, setting the standard for what relationships with others are by how you are in relationship with yourself. The next thing that I'm saying is important is this 3 of Cups here, which is finding your community, finding your people, and being an active participant within those spaces. It's one thing to find folks that you really like being around, but like, how do you actually become a part of the group? It's not just by like being physically present, it's how you contribute to this space. Friendships should be reciprocal relationships, and it feels like leaning into discovering your community, or if you feel like you've found your people, really embracing those communities and figuring out how you show up for others is going to be helpful in finding romantic partnership. Sometimes things that seem unconnected very much do relate to one another. I think what's important to note here is like, you're not cursed. There's no giant obstacle that needs clearing. There's no big thing that's intentionally standing in your way. I've certainly had situations with clients where like their ancestors have popped up and they're like, we're trying to protect you from love. And it's like, thanks, you're not helping. I don't see that here at all. In fact, it's like we are in our own way. And this isn't to like drag you, like no shade. But what this does tell me is that a lot of the perceived limitations, a lot of the limitations and boundaries that you have around romantic relationship are inviting you to explore the space beyond them. I think sometimes, growing up, we start to have these expectations about how relationships should be, what they should look like, how they should feel. And as we grow into adulthood, we start to see how our expectations are different from reality. And maybe the things that we've learned from our families of origin, from media, from religion. These are all things that we are being invited to shed. And sometimes even when we do the active work of trying to release those ideas and figure out what's true to us, those old ideas still kind of linger in the background, and we don't even notice that they're still influencing our perspective or our approach. And it feels like winter, Mercury retrograde, this is a really good time for reflection and looking into see like what parts of the past, what parts of what I've learned to expect around romantic relationships do I still need to shift a little bit, transition from, so that it makes more sense for who I am now in this life, what it is I truly need in this life. Your spirits are also encouraging you to like continue moving around, continue seeing things, continue seeing the world. And when you are, I don't even think that it's when you are home, wherever that is, but more like wherever you are, making meaningful connections with other people in a friendship capacity really is the key to finding the kind of romantic partnerships that you are looking for. I know it's super cliche, but it's like when you stop looking for love, that's when love finds you. And I don't love saying things that are cliche, but it would seem to be the case here. It's like when you stop looking for romantic love and embrace friendship love, which can be very romantic, TBH, like that's when what you want is going to find you. Okay. But I think the most important takeaway here is like, there's no big major block. There's nothing supernatural or practical that seems to be standing in your way. It's just a matter of timing and finding yourself around the right people to facilitate that kind of connection for you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Southern Bonnie Bell. Okay, I see you here. My sister has gone no contact with our parents. My mother is basically shutting down. My dad is depressed, and I'm caught in the middle trying to tend to everyone without neglecting myself. What's in store for my family going forward? Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay. So, the spirits had me pull a few cards. One for your family, one for you, and one just kind of like as a general bit of advice, a bit of insight for the whole situation. And when it comes to, they want me to start with you. When it comes to you, I pulled the Queen of Swords. And it seems as though this season with your family is inviting you to find your voice, is inviting you to recognize that you have needs too, and to make those needs known and to take aligned action to tend to them. I keep hearing over and over again, like, you have to care for yourself. You have to care for yourself. And it can be such a challenge, especially when we're the child who has become the peacemaker, the moderator, the one that everyone feels like they can still turn to despite the chaos all around us. It feels selfish and wrong to prioritize ourselves when everyone is counting on us to make things okay. Everyone is counting on us to be the number one point of communication for all parties who refuse to, participate and to speak in kindness to one another. And your spirits are, and obviously, you need to do what you want to do. You need to do what feels right for you. And sometimes that means not doing what our spirits say. But if you'd like to know what they're encouraging you to do, it's like to take a little space. Take a little time. Take a little space. Take a little oldest daughter life. Yep. Ain't that just the way? Oldest daughter life. Taking a little space for you. Maybe that means putting your phone on do not disturb for a little while. Maybe that means I'm not going to immediately answer the call and jump to attention and drop everything that's important to me so that I can make sure everyone else's needs are tended to. Because at the end of the day, your guides are like, you're all adults now. And you're not anybody's mom. At least in this situation, right? Of the players who are at hand, you're not anybody's mother. And your spirits are encouraging you to pour all of that work back into you for a little while. And it's probably going to piss some people off. It might piss everyone off. TBH. It might piss everyone off. But your spirits are concerned that if you're not already there, you are on path for big burnout. And TBH, big meltdown. Eventually you're going to break. Not forever. But eventually you're going to get to a point where you're like, I'm actually losing my mind in this moment. I cannot keep it together anymore. It's all falling apart. And that's when we make decisions, we say things, we act in certain ways, and we're like, fuck, who is that person? I don't even know them. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Your spirits can't emphasize enough that they really crave boundaries for you. They really crave boundaries for you. And I don't know what your living situation is like. If you physically live in the same home with one or all of these people, it's certainly going to make it a challenge to institute physical boundaries. But at the very least, you can start by invoking your spirits and asking them to help you with spiritual and psychic boundaries between you and others. When it comes to your family, I see the Page of Wands, and this feels more like immediate future. It feels TBH, folks' behavior is going to continue to get more immature. Folks' behavior is going to continue to, I guess, retrogress. It's certainly not progressing. It's going to keep going backwards. It's going to keep getting harder. And I think a big part of that is because they know they can depend on you. Because you're the oldest daughter. You'll take care of everything. So why do any of us need to try harder? That's the vibe that I'm getting. And you choosing to prioritize yourself for a little while, create the necessary physical and spiritual boundaries that you are able to, is going to force them to reconsider their perspective on all of this. Their perspective, their beliefs about the truth, and their choices, the way they behave, more importantly. I heard someone say amongst your spirits, your dad's gonna come out of it soon. So obviously everybody's depression is different. We all deal with it in different ways. We all heal through it in different ways, but it does seem like there's a good break coming up for him soon, and that's something to look forward to, I suppose. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Cups, and the Page of Cups is reminding you to embrace to turn to the good spirits who surround you to support you, especially if it feels like there aren't any other living people close by who can offer you the support that you need. Turning to them right now is going to be really helpful, because it feels like you need to talk to somebody who's not your immediate family about the situation and who's not going to go into the conversation with judgment. Your good spirits really want to help you out and be there for you. So inviting them, giving them permission to talk to you, to share with you, is going to be really helpful. You're very psychic. So I'm sure all of this is even more exhausting for you, since you're so psychically sensitive, energetically sensitive. I think that taking time to invest in your spiritual foundations, your grounding, cleansing, protection, spending time exploring those and cultivating discipline within those areas is going to be really helpful for managing yourself, so that you can get through whatever this is and start creating and enforcing some of those boundaries that are needed. Your spirits are saying that this Page of Wands reverse, this it gets a little bit worse before it gets better, is not forever, but also it's not up to you. It's not up to you. You are in charge of yourself and your choices, and you can show up for them as best as you can, but it's up to the other people involved in this situation to choose differently, to change their perspective, to change their actions, and you can't force them to do it. And I think remembering this is important, because you've had so much responsibility on you for so long. The responsibility of other people in your family acting right is not yours, it's theirs. And that's something your spirits want to really emphasize. Even though it feels weird. How is it not my responsibility too? Are you sure? Are you sure I'm not responsible for everyone else's actions? It feels like this is a season of you recognizing and moving in alignment with the truth that you can't be. It's not possible. It's not possible for you to be in charge of everybody else's actions. So I would call on your spirit, start working. I also feel like covering your head might be helpful, especially if you're engaging with family members who are particularly difficult. Keeping a beanie, a hat on, a scarf, what have you, whatever feels good and right for you is going to help protect the sensitivity, because you are very psychically sensitive, and it gets more overwhelming for you than for most people when you're in those high tension situations with your family members. Okay. Let's see, Lori. And then I'll switch over to PayPal. If I haven't called you yet, it might be because you're on the PayPal. Let's see if I can log in. Okay. Lori, I would like to confirm, is my wise and well ancestors includes my great-grandmother Jenny and her mother Stanislawa? If so, what do they need from me to build our partnership? Okay, let's see. Just use this one. Okay. Shuffle again. Okay. Okay, this is kind of what I was feeling, but I appreciate when the cards confirm it. It does feel like both of these spirits, your great-grandmother and your great-great-grandmother, could use ancestral elevation. It's what I was sensing as I was shuffling, especially in the way their energy was coming through. They could certainly use elevation before they are able to be more active in your life and to be of assistance and support to you. I don't sense any harmful influence in your life from them. I think, they're just like, they're just not there yet. They're just not there yet. And that's okay. Like, we've all got our own stuff. And I think what's so interesting about grandparents and great-grandparents is that we only know them in that season of their life. Like, my kids, my oldest, knew my dad as like funny Grandpa Eddie, who was so fun and never raised his voice ever and told them how much he loved them all the time. And it reminds me of that TikTok trend that was going around where the voiceover is like, why don't you show them how crazy you really are? I used to feel that way sometimes. I'm like, who is that man? Who is that man? That's not the man I know. But like as grandkids or great-grandkids or great-great-grandkids, we don't know our elders' whole story. They have lived lifetimes before we come to know them. So even though they're not in a place where they're causing disruption or they have harmful influence, it does feel like there's some parts of their past, there's some parts of their stories that they are trying to work through still. And it would benefit them to receive ancestral elevation from you so that they are able to come back and be of support to you at your altar. The next two things that I'm showing are specifically for your great-grandmother, Limpia. And it would be helpful for you to do a good, what are they saying? Got it. If possible, they'd like you to take a spiritual bath. I'm hearing like salt and rue. Rue is like that girl today. Salt and rue. When you're using salt, so I recommend, you bring your water to a boil. You use a pot that's only for making spiritual baths. Don't cook with it later. Go ahead and fill it with water. Add your preferred salt in there and let it like melt in the water, kind of like when you're boiling pasta. Or if you want, you can just boil the herbs and add some like Epsom salt into your bath when you take it. It's up to you. If you can't use the tub or you don't have a tub, you can boil the water, let the herbs really sit in it for a while, steep for a good long time, and then let it cool completely. Like you should be able to put your finger down to the bottom of the pot. So you know it's cool, because the next step is standing in your shower and dumping it over your head. So you don't want to accidentally scald yourself. It would not be fun. And it would really defeat the purpose of a good cleansing. But it feels like a good spiritual bath will be helpful for you. The next thing that I'm getting, this is about your great-great-grandmother, Jenny's mom, is quit. And this in particular feels like it's connected to some cycles, some patterns. And it might be, I don't want to say fun, but it'll be like an interesting little research project for you to channel or divine, discover what her story is and what patterns might still be showing up in your life that you probably didn't even, if she's a great-great-grandmother, like, the odds of like you knowing her life story are not huge, right? I don't know any of my great-great-grandparents, but I am not everyone. But it feels like there's some sort of pattern in her part of the lineage that you are tasked with changing. You are tasked with stopping and changing. And this isn't going to be like you're going to figure it all out next week type of project. This is like a long project. So have patience with yourself. And it feels like you'll probably get more instruction after you complete the ancestral elevations. Okay? Thank you, Lori. Click. Okay, let's see who's next. Who's next? Oh, my mom is sending me reels. Jenny, I just found out they existed a few weeks ago from DNA results. Their family members erased their existence, so I understand the need for elevation. Wow, that's incredible. Congratulations for discovering them. That's really cool. Okay, Jazz the Sun Fairy. Cute. Jazz the Sun Fairy. What do my good spirits want me to know? What do they want you to know? What deck are we using? This one. Okay. Just realized my son wrote on this hat. Can't tell what it says. So funny. I remember like writing on my clothes and writing on my shoe, especially like my Converse, writing on my Converse. My mom would be like, "What are you doing?" And now here I am. I'm the mom. Okay. Cut the deck. Okay. Ooh. Chills. All right. Jazz the Sun Fairy. Drink some coffee. Let's see what's going on. Oh, I want to take this moment to let everyone know that Jay Zanelli, who is an incredible hairstylist who works at Shampulio Salon on Melrose, has put together this really cool raffle, and all of the funds collected are going to mutual aid in Palestine. And if you check out Jay's page, I think I posted it in my stories. I'll post it to the main today or tomorrow, but you have the opportunity to win a full session with me, a full private session with me. So, and like it goes for a good cause. There's a few different other bundles. Like you don't have to bid on mine. You could bid on a different one, but it's definitely worth checking out. There are a lot of other like fun queer artists and creators and creatives who have contributed to the raffle. So please go check it out. It's Jay Zanelli on IG. So, okay. Jazz the Sun Fairy. What your spirits want you to know is they feel like you're carrying a lot. They feel like you're carrying a lot. And they're like, you can't hold all of this on your own. And I love that you shared this during my reading because I'm Palestinian. There are no coincidences. They feel like you're carrying a lot, and on top of it, you're being really hard on yourself for like not doing more. Like I have all these wands in my hand, and also, why am I not doing this? Why am I not doing that? Why am I not doing this better? Your spirits are really calling on you to extend some compassion over yourself, because it feels like the weight of the world is resting on your shoulder. It feels like it's resting on your chest, and it's like making it hard to breathe. I feel like crying, like as I'm channeling your guides and you. You ask too much of yourself, And like, yes, like we are human beings. We can accomplish great things. We can achieve our dreams. We can create the world we desire. Yes. And also we can't do it all at once because we are only human. And your spirits are encouraging you to like put some of these wands down. You got to put some of these responsibilities down because you still have so much to give to yourself, to give to community, to give to the world. And they are concerned that you won't be able to fulfill all of those things that you desire to do if you continue holding as much as you are right now. And in those moments, as you are setting wands down, delegating, saving things for later, just setting them down and not coming back, ask your spirits to please correct your thoughts when they go to being hard on yourself, you know? I think when we're carrying a lot and it's time to put some stuff down, we can be like, wow, like I must be a loser because I can't do this. I must be horrible because I can't do this. And asking my spirits, inviting them to reframe my thoughts has been so helpful for me because I have been my harshest critic because I know how terrible I can be. Seen them. And I think that's where like my inner critic comes from, like the desire to not be a trash human. Our inner critics all come from different places, but asking your good spirits to help reframe your thoughts can be really helpful because in those moments where I'm like, wow, you can't do this. Wow, I can't believe you're not doing that. I can't believe you're not doing more. My spirits are like, actually, you're doing this and this, or actually, you need to take a break so that you can continue to be alive. They'll say little things that help me change the way I am talking to myself in those moments. And it helps me see like, oh, okay. Like I'm doing a pretty okay job at this whole life thing. And thank you for the encouragement to know that like, I should still be here and keep at it. I think that's going to be really helpful because they're really worried about you like burning out. They're really worried about you burning out if you're not already there. The next thing that they're encouraging you to do is to like find your voice. And it feels like you've kind of been working on this, but in carrying all of these wands and carrying the weight of the world on your chest, it's like your voice has kind of silenced itself. And you have a lot of important things to say. I'm seeing like typing. So I don't know if you're a writer, whether you're like a journalist or a creative writer or a poet. Your spirits really want you to explore. Maybe you channel and do automatic writing, but your spirits really want to encourage you to like find passion in that outlet again. And it can be hard when you're sitting here. And that's why they're like, we got to put some of this stuff down. Like, you can't save the world by yourself. Nor were you built for it. Nor are any of us meant to save the world by ourselves. We are all in this. We're all in this together. We are all in this together. And we each contribute in the little and big ways that we have the capacity and resource to. And those ways are going to fluctuate over time. But like your voice, your words, talk about changing the world. The things that you say, the pen, the keyboard, those have the potential, like that's world building. And your spirits are really inviting you to find the joy in that medium once again. Finally, over here, we have the 6 of Cups, and it feels like your inner 7. Oh, 7 is such a sweet age. Your inner 7-year-old needs a little love, needs a little attention, a little tenderness. So I would spend some time either in meditation or trance or through divination. Maybe it's through your writing practice, asking that version of you, what is it that they need? What is it that they need? And then give it to them. Give it to you. Give it to them. Okay? Jen Sheasley. Hi, Jen Sheasley. Thank you, Jess. Okay, Jennifer Butler. The Six of Cups follows you around. I just think the Six of Cups is the sweetest card. It's so sweet. It's very tender. Okay, here we go. What do my good spirits want me to know? Let's find out together. Is this the right deck? Sure. Would you prefer a different one? No. Okay. Sure. Shuffle. Okay. Cut the deck. Okay. Ooh. This is like everyone's stalker card today. When I see it, I immediately hear Otis Redding, like, try a little tenderness. That's the vibe I'm getting from the Six of Cups today. Try a little tenderness. So when I look at what the spirits have to share with you today, what they want you to know, what they're encouraging you to lean into is the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups, when we see this card, we're like, what do you mean? Do you want me to sit and pout under a tree? The Four of Cups invites us to stop trying to force things to happen. Stop trying to make fetch happen. And instead, like, take a moment, take a deep breath, give yourself the opportunity to be still long enough to notice the blessings that are trying to find you. Not even like blessings, sure, but also the clarity that's trying to find you, the opportunity that's trying to find you. If we're constantly in go mode, if we're constantly in action mode, we tend to miss things, right? And it feels like you've had so much going on, and you have, like, you've had so much going on. And so the spirits are like, when does the rest come? Like, when does the rest come? And what I think is interesting is, like, it's not this Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is like, go to bed, take a nap, go to bed. The Four of Cups, it's a little bit more alert and not alert, but we bring in awareness to our moment of rest, right? Like the Four of Swords is like, just go to sleep. Bethany Frankel's Scary Island, go to sleep. But the Four of Cups is, you need to take it slow. You need to take it easy, because there's information that's trying to find you, but it's struggling because you're not sitting still. When the Four of Cups comes up for me, especially lately, it's been a good reminder to get back into my meditative practices. And meditation looks different for everybody. It's not just sitting with your legs crisscross applesauce, closing your eyes and telling yourself to empty your head of all your thoughts, unless that works for you. And if it does, I love it. But meditation can also come to us when we're playing an instrument. Meditation can come to us when we are moving our bodies, stretching, dancing, running, walking. Meditation can come to us. I find I hit meditation the hardest when I'm like folding laundry, when I'm washing the dishes, when I'm washing my hair, and I don't have any other distractions on around me. Like, that's when the inspiration and the information starts coming through very clearly. That's when all of my thoughts that have been so jumbled slowly start to detangle like a pile of necklaces. And there are these little bits of information where I'm like, oh, that makes sense now. That makes sense now. And this is a good reminder to take some breaks from the things that might be overly distracting. It's good, from time to time to just like zone out, scroll, binge watch all the new episodes of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and also sometimes we have to take breaks from those things so that we can give ourselves the opportunity to really connect with our intuition and our good spirits and to receive what it is they have to say. When I look at what your spirits are asking you to lean out of, I pulled the Six of Wands, and what I immediately heard is like, you don't always have to be right. Which, I mean, on a personal level, I disagree. I love being right. It's a Gemini in me. I will not only tell you I'm right, I will Google it and show you. I will pull up encyclopedia pages and show you why I'm right. We're working on it. Actually, we're a lot better now. Even if you know you're right, just like let it go. Whatever it is, like it's not worth it. You're not going to convince anybody. You're not going to convince the people that are convinced you're wrong, even though you are right. So rather than wasting your breath on trying to prove yourself to whomever this other person might be or persons might be, just like take a step back, wash your hands of it. Lean into this instead, especially like when the frustration comes up, you're like, oh, I know I am correct in this moment, instead of going into like fight mode, or going into flight mode and just like panicking, leaving the situation. Take a moment to go within instead, to lean into those practices that help you to ground into this earth, ground into this body, to open up your ears and your heart to the good spirits who support you and who can show you where to direct that energy instead, because there are some people who will never be convinced. So why waste your time? Finally, what I see here is the Death card. And I think it's interesting that we have the Six of Wands on the white horse, followed by Death on the white horse, and they're moving in the same direction. And it feels like you've been in the midst of big transition for a while now. You've been in the midst of big transition for a while now. But what the Death card reminds us is that there are some transitions that come no matter what. There are some big changes that we cannot stop once they are in motion, right? But when death arrives, it's an invitation. Do you want this? Will you make aligned action that support this change that's being offered? Are you ready to receive this big shift in your life? And are you ready for what may be required of you once you say yes? Are you ready? There are some changes that only come when we engage our free will and make the decision for ourselves. And it feels like that's the big thing that's coming up for you right now. That means you have the choice, the opportunity to keep things as they are, or to lean into transformation. And transformation is scary because it's unknown. It's uncomfortable. But does the comfort of staying where you are outweigh the frustrations of it? Sometimes what's comfortable isn't what's helpful. And it's up to you to decide what comes next. Again, we have the Six of Cups, the stalker card of the day. Nostalgia is coming in hot and strong. And when we romanticize nostalgia, it can make us forget why we asked for death to come find us in the first place. I think nostalgia is excellent for inspiration and can serve as fuel for our creative crafts and understanding ourselves better. But nostalgia can also be an obstacle that stops us from making the changes that we know we actually do want. And it's all a matter of moderation, balance. So, you don't have to keep trying to prove that you're right. I know, and you know. And that's enough. Your spirits would like to spend more time with you in your meditative state, whatever that is. And when you're ready for things to be different, death waits at your door. Okay. Who's next? Who's next? Oh goodness, I got locked out. Hold on. It's coming. I think there's like 2 or 3 more people left. Okay. Today's the 22nd. Why did I think it was the 21st? Roots to Blooms. Roots to Blooms, I don't see your screen name here. So I'm not sure which question is yours. Would you just let me know? Let's see. I'll come back to you once I know who you are. So I know what your question is. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Mia. This is Anna. Anna, I don't have your screen name either. Did it not ask on the thing? I'm sorry if it didn't give you like a little area to ask your question. Moonlit Mama 444. Roots to Bloom. Got it. Okay. Got you. Inside advice for my good spirits concerning strengthening my intuitive psychic abilities. Fear and doubt has blocked me from them. They still feel stagnant and far away. Okay, let's get into that. We're switching decks for you. Oh, the hiccups. When I was pregnant, I used to have hiccups all the time. All the time. Cut the deck. Okay, that was fast. So the first card on the bottom of the deck made me giggle because it's patience. Patience. We love to hate it, but when it comes to our spiritual gifts, especially like, okay, we're in the midst of spiritual awakening. All of these things are coming to our awareness, like being blown, this hole is being blown open, and we're suddenly realizing things and doing things and discovering things. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting. And then we reach this kind of plateau because all of those things that have been unlocked inside of us, they're becoming more normal now. And in that plateau, we kind of experience, I like to call it like the come down blues. I don't know about y'all, but in my past life in this body, I did a lot of MDMA. And while I was on it, it was very exciting and so cool and so great. And the next few days were terrible. They were awful. Hence why I am an addict and I don't do any of those things anymore because I was always chasing the up, right? It's not so dissimilar when we experience spiritual awakening that during that plateau, we kind of have these come down blues. We're like, okay, 3 months ago or 3 weeks ago or a year ago, it was like, fire, everything exciting, unlocking new levels. And all of a sudden, nothing is new, nothing is different. And it's because we're integrating all of those big changes that came through. And our spirits are like, you can't always be overwhelmed like that all of the time. That's not healthy. It's not healthy. And it's not sustainable to always be in that very expansive and like hyper receptive state, that very, very sensitive state of spiritual spiritual awakening. And so your spirits are encouraging you to have a little bit more patience in where you are in this practice right now. Things have slowed down for a reason, and it's because you're not meant to find new things or bigger things or different things, but you're meant to continue to deepen the relationship that you have and understand the relationship you have with those gifts and abilities that have been unlocked in your most recent spiritual awakening. The reason why in this card I put chamomile and lavender and parsley is because parsley in particular, perejil, is excellent for cleansing and grounding. And also there's like a myth around, actually not, I think it's cilantro, not parsley, but that the reason why it takes so long for those seeds to germinate and to come up through the soil is because like they go all the way down to the underworld first, and it's sometimes associated with Persephone. They have to go all the way down to the underworld first before they can pop back up, and once it comes out of the soil, it's abundant and you can never get rid of it. Such is very similar to our spiritual gifts. Once it's there, it's there. And I think sometimes because it's there all of the time, we stop noticing it. We stop noticing it because it's normal now. It's not exciting anymore, but it's still there and it's still special. What the other cards that are coming through for you are dreams, sun, and ceremony. So, building relationships. Blah, 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 blah. What am I saying? Dreams first. Dreams first. Okay. So, if you're looking for a space to focus your gifts, focus your rituals, I think building a dream practice would be really helpful for you if you're not already doing it. Having a little journal that you keep by your bed so that in the morning, instead of reaching for a phone or reaching for whatever, as soon as you wake up, you can take a moment and jot down whatever it is that you can recollect of your dreams. Something that I learned while I was in Sonia Estelle and Tara Rinberg's Dreamscape Academy is that when recalling dreams, it is helpful to recall them in the present tense. So rather than, in my dream, I was doing this, we say, I am walking down a dark street. It is raining. I see this. And I feel like that's going to be helpful in your dream recall practice. Your dreams are also a great space to meet with your good spirits, to meet with your guides. Give them permission before you go to sleep. Ask them to be there because our spirits, wise and well, desire our consent. They desire our enthusiastic consent, and by granting them that consent, I think you'll find that you start to have more visitations in the dream realm. Focusing your spiritual hygiene around your sleep routine is going to be helpful too. Cleansing before you go to night, grounding before you go to sleep. I like to keep a selenite wand by the bed. I cover my head before I go to sleep, and I find that that's really helpful. I think these are good ways to spend your spiritual energy in order to feel more connected with your gifts and your abilities. Next, we have the sun. After you've had a moment to do a little bit of dream recall with your journal, or maybe you're using a voice recorder. I really love the Otter AI voice app, because when I use the iPhone voice app, like it's just there. I record it, it's gone forever. That's it. It's just in the abyss of my phone. But when I use the Otter AI one, it also automatically transcribes my voice notes, and those transcriptions are searchable from the desktop app and from your phone. So when certain symbols start to pop up in your waking life, you can go back through your phone or your computer and search like, maybe it's a feather. You can search feather, and all the dreams where you mentioned feathers will pop up. So that might be something worth investigating. After you've taken some time to do a little dream recall, I think it would be nice for you to do a little ceremony in the morning to connect with your good spirits. Something that I've been doing something that I've always done is coffee in the morning. And when I set down the coffee, I let on the altar. They get the first cup, always. And one of my sources is like, not always. You're correct. They get the first cup. And I always what I do always say when I set it down on the altar is, may this humble offering please the benevolent spirits of this land, of this house, of my altars, my ancestors, my spiritual court. And it's a small gift, but it is one that I give with consistency every single morning. As soon as I rise, that's the first thing I do is brew the coffee. So what ceremony can you start to integrate into your morning routine that's going to help you feel connected with your good spirits and guides as soon as you get up? Starting your day with them feels really important. Another thing that I've been doing lately, I've been doing a lot of intentionally connecting with my Ori and saying prayers and putting my head to the ground to connect myself to this good earth, to ground myself, to connect with my first ancestor, this good earth. So I encourage you to find some ways, whether it's physical embodiments or prayers, to connect with your spirits once you're out of the bed. So sleep and rising seem to be the most important places to connect with your spirits. And I feel like that invitation in the morning also just helps us to be more conscious of the way that spirit is showing up in our life, through our gifts. It's not glamorous, it's not like, oh, I'm going to start doing a seance every week before bed. That sounds cool. And also, it's those little simple things done in sincerity that tend to have the greatest effect on our relationship to our spiritual gifts. Okay. Consistency, having consistency in those little things too. Okay. Gabs, I see you. Okay, Gabs, you're up next. I'd love some advice on my work. Where can I find a joyful and prosperous job? If I should stay where I am at or more abroad without obstructing me from finding love and creating a family in the near future. This is a big question. Okay, let's see what comes through. All right. They're going to have me break this down into, should you stay where you are? Or, if I stay where I am, if I look abroad. If I stay where I am, if I look abroad. Okay. Big shuffle or small shuffle? Big shuffle. Is this our deck? Yes. Yes. Okay. Cut the deck. Okie dokie. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Wheel of Fortune. And what I immediately heard is 6 of one, half dozen another. Do we stay or do we look out at what's beyond our current boundaries and limitations? And there's no wrong choice in this situation. There's only different choices. When I look at staying, I pulled the 6 of Pentacles, and what I'm receiving very much is you get what you put in. You get what you put in. You stay here, and what you are able to give unto your time here, whether it's your work, your personal relationships, your relationship to land, your relationship to spirit. What you're able to give is what you are able to receive back. And that's something that they want you very much to keep in mind. What you are able to offer is what comes back to you. What I do also see here is the 9 of Wands. And it does feel like if you stay, there's this part of you that's always going to wonder, what if I had chosen differently? what if I had taken a risk? You know, like I have everything I need here. I do my best. I show up. I participate. I give what I can. I receive what I need. I'm cared for. But what if there was something more? What if there was something different? And what if I'm missing that? If you decide to look abroad for other opportunities, I receive the Ten of Cups. And this is a card of fulfillment in relationships, in personal connections, in spiritual connections. This is being embraced by the land rather than, making it do, like, I can make it work here. I can make it work here. I have everything that I need. I'm showing up as best I can. What I'm receiving is what I'm able to put in, but it feels like going abroad, it's like we are embraced by the land. We are embraced by the experience. We find those meaningful connections that we crave. It also comes with the Tower, which means all of our beliefs about ourselves, our lives, our future, our past gets ripped apart. Scary and also liberating. Terrifying, yes, but also exciting. Because something I always like to say is that the most fertile soil is that which rests beneath the rubble of the fallen tower. The most fertile soil is that which rests beneath the rubble of the fallen tower. And yeah, like your whole life might get turned upside down if you decide to look abroad and go through with it. But is that a bad thing? If life how it is now isn't completely satisfying, maybe things getting turned upside down is exactly what we need. And the benefit of the Tower is like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Things are going to get shaken up. Your understanding of yourself and the world around you, it's all going to come into question. It's all going to change. Sometimes I need that. Sometimes I'm not brave enough to answer the door when death knocks and invites me to make the choices to change my life. Sometimes I need the Tower to just come through and do it for me, and praise be for that, despite the chaos that may ensue in the process. Sometimes we need that shift in perspective to be forced on us so that we're able to accept it, receive it, enjoy it, benefit from it. And those are the things your spirits want you to consider. If you stay, you'll always have what you need. You'll always have what you need. You'll always be taken care of. Bills will be paid. You'll make connections, But you'll always wonder what else there could be. And if you go, you find those meaningful connections with people, with land, with spirit. And you'll also find that what you thought to be true about life and the world might be totally different. Might all come into question and shift and change. There's no wrong choice here. Only a matter of desire. And if you quiet down and you listen to your heart, what is it that they desire? Is it that financial consistency? It's not a bad thing to desire, especially in a capitalist world. Or is it that emotional fulfillment? What's the most important desire? And once you hear what your heart has to say, it's having the courage to follow through. Thank you, Gabs. Okay, let's see. I think I have 3 more, and then we'll probably close readings for today. I have Krista Paula. Krista Paula, if you're here, would you please drop your question in the little question bubble right there? Because I don't see it in the box. Let's see who else we have here. I'll come back to you once I see your question. Kaiva, I don't see your question in the box either, Kaiva. Hold on, I'm not disappearing. I'm just going to check the screenshot I took earlier of all the questions. Okay. So Kaiva, if you're here, would you drop your question in the box? And Krista Paula, if you're here, would you drop your question in the box for me, please? And if I don't hear from you before this closes out, I will, of course, refund your money to you. Okay, next we have... Okay. G, I see you here, G. What do my spirits want me to know? Well, let's find out. Sally, did I skip you? I don't think so. Okay. Is this the right deck? Yes. Yes. Okay, big shuffle. This is my favorite deck. I love it. Really? Yeah, cut it. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, I haven't flipped all the cards over yet, but I do think it's interesting that on the bottom we have the 10 of Cups. I just think that's such a sweet card. Okay, what your spirits are calling you to lean into is the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups, yes, traditionally is a card about finding our community, celebrating with the people we care about, who care about us too. And also, in this particular deck, there are certainly hints of exploring our sexuality, exploring our sensuality, our relationship with passion and emotion and romantic connection. So whether you already have a person or persons in your life that you're romantically involved with, or you're on the lookout for a person or persons that you can be romantically involved with, I think really it starts internally. It starts with it starts with romancing ourselves. And in romancing ourselves, we begin to understand what it is that we desire from our connections with others. We have to know what feels good, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually, in order for us to have an understanding of what we can bring to romantic connections and what we hope to receive from romantic connections with others. The next thing that I'm seeing is the Knight of Cups, and it feels like there's someone in your life who's not all in. Not all in. I think it's interesting that your spirits are encouraging you to lean out of this energy, to lean away from this energy. I also feel like you kind of already know it's not for you. Whatever this is, whatever the situation is, I think you already know it's not for you. I think you already know that like they can't show up in your life in a way that you need or desire, and that's okay. But rather than trying to like make a square peg fit in a round hole because it seems nice, I don't want to let go. Just let go is what your spirits are saying. You just got to let go of this one. Sometimes we have to, cut our losses and move on so that we're able to find the relationships that do make more sense for us, that are in alignment for who we are, what we need, what we're able to offer to others. It also feels like whoever this person is, they're just like not in the same place as you spiritually, emotionally. They might be really fun. They might be really interesting, enchanting even, but like deep down, you kind of already know like this isn't going anywhere, and your spirits are like, we just got to cut this loss and move forward. Finally, when I look at release, I see the 10 of Wands, and the 10 of Wands is asking you to spend some time reflecting on the beliefs that you've acquired over your lifetime about romantic relationships, romantic partnerships. The 10 of Wands is asking you to consider, like, what are some things that you've come to believe to be true? And are those things still true to you now? Are you still holding yourself and others to these standards that you're not even sure you have faith in? That you might very well think opposite, or at the very least different of. Again, we have Mercury retrograde coming up, and it's a really great time for this type of reflective work of looking backwards, taking it slow, looking backwards and seeing, what is it that doesn't fit anymore? What is it that doesn't quite make sense for who I am now? What have I come to understand about myself and others and the world that opposes or challenges these things that were taught to me to be true? And how do I feel about my shifting perspective? Does that align with who I want to be? Does it align with the kind of world that I desire to live in? And what actions follow those reflections? So, have fun, make good choices, be safe, but also have a good time, okay? All right, so if you sent a contribution, I think I got to everyone except Kaiva and Krista because I don't see your questions in the box. So I'll go ahead and refund those, but I'm pretty sure I got to everyone else who sent a donation. So thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining today. This was lovely. I really appreciate you allowing me to hold space for you and your spirits, trusting me to hold space for you and your spirits. Just a reminder that enrollment for Into the Veil opens this Monday, which is very exciting. I've been reviewing and editing all of the course content as I do before every season, which is why it's never quite the same and why you get access to all future offerings, because the content does change as I change and I grow and I learn. So there's that. Into the Veil opens Monday. I will be opening a limited number of year ahead readings soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And if you would like the opportunity to receive a one-on-one with me, especially if we've never worked together one-on-one before, since right now I mostly only work with current students and Moon Shadows member, you should definitely go check out the raffle on Jay Zanelli's page to benefit mutual aid in Palestine, and you can win a reading with me as a part of that. All right, before I go, I'm going to take a moment to close our circle. So if you're here, I invite you to close your eyes if it's comfortable, relax into your seat. Together, let's take a big deep breath in through our nose, out through our mouths. on behalf of myself, Caitlin, and all of my good spirits, I thank each and every one of you and your good spirits for being in attendance here today. Good spirits, we thank you for your blessings, your protection, your wisdom, now and always. Thank you, Creator and Creatrix, for this moment. And I thank all the versions of ourselves who gathered here together to receive. It is in love that I received each and every one of you in this circle, and it is in love that I return your energy and your spirits to you now. There they go. See you next time.